folks, this is Engineer 775, just saying hello. Not going to talk about solar, not going to talk about batteries or any other gizmos. Well, maybe a gizmo or two. Mainly want to talk about my bike, but that's just my new favorite pastime. Again, up here in the mountains, riding some awesome roads near the Blue Ridge Parkway. Lots of amazing motorcycle loops, beautiful lakes and rivers and all sorts of scenery that I've just been enjoying. That's in my backyard. And so now I'm finally getting to see it all. And I did a thing. I bought a Harley. The deal between my wife and I was I wasn't going to get one until I got the 3 girls through college. Well, that deal was met. I kept my end of the deal and I got a bike. Now, the bike that I bought was a 2021 Street Glide Special. Loved it. Great. First Harley, first bike, really road bike. I've had a lot of dirt bikes, but first real road bike, and first time spending about 8,000 to 10,000 miles riding on the roads and getting used to it. And then everybody was saying, well, that's a nice starter kit. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, that's just a starter kit for a road glide. So I gave into the pressure, but I also like the looks. There's a lot I like about the road glide. I'm going to show you some of the things about the road glide. So this is kind of a review. This is a 2023 Road Glide ST, which is the sport touring model. A step below the CVO model, but that's just can't justify that paint job, the money for that paint job. So this is the kind of the bike you start with. It's kind of modeled after the Baggers Racing series, and this is the sport touring. It's all stock except for I get a different seat and windshield right now. I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do to it though. It's going to be fun. So let me show you the bike. Again, this is a 2023 Harley Davidson Road Glide ST, which is the sport touring. There's quite a few things that are different about it from the regular Road Glide. For one thing, it's got the Milwaukee 8 117, comes stock with a 117, and so that's nice. It's got pretty good power, but it is choked down. You know, they are all choked down for California emissions, which is a shame, because it just doesn't breathe very well. But they've got it detuned, mainly in the exhaust. It's just choked down, but it's still pretty good. And was able to beat a 5-year-old Road Glide the other day, from 0 to 125. And he had a cam in his, but this was able to pull away. So there's been nothing done to it except I added. I'm 6'3", so this. So I get blasted with a stock wind visor. I just get hit with that. So I bought a wind vest because I like the last one I bought. So again, just a little bike review here. I bought the wind vest. I like the way it curves up here. It gives you about 3 more inches of the air just kicking up above, hits the top of my helmet. Makes it very enjoyable to be able to hear your music or whatever else you're listening to. So, and again, I'll get into fixed fairing because I just got off of a fixed fairing with this bike versus the Street Glide, which is the movable fairing. The fairing moves with the steering wheel. There's all the arguments. I'm going to put in my 2 cents. I'm going to try to do it from I don't want to say a scientific standpoint, but from a standpoint of just changing up the bikes. The big argument is Street Glide or Road Glide, and what's the difference? And to be honest with you, I'm really trying to figure it out. I think I have something that makes sense to me, and I'm going to share that. So again, this bike is about to go through some modifications. First thing's got to go are the grandpa handlebars. It's like riding a beach bike. It's comfortable, but I don't like them. I'm going to go with some Kraus. I'm going to be removing this. I'm going to actually attach this a triangular plate right to the triple tree that's below here. So some of this plastic's going to be modified, removed, and I'm going to put a Kraus and more of an MX style, motocross style handlebars, T-bars that are going to go on here. My gauges are going to present a little bit far forward, but I'm going to be elevated. So that's one of the main things I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to be doing an upgrade to the stereos, the stock speakers, and put an amplifier. The amplifier will go in the fairing, and then I'll have speakers in the bag lids. So it'll be 4-speaker system with an amplifier, just a little bit nicer. And so anyway, that's one of the things I'm going to do is bars. I'm going to probably leave the engine stock for the 2-year warranty on the drivetrain, and then we'll talk cams, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, take it up to a 131. But I am looking at a D&D pipe for stage 1. That's a D&D 2-into-1, and I'll have to get a tuner for that. And I'm not quite sure. I like the looks of the air intake, the air cleaner, but my knee kind of hits it. It's not the most comfortable. I should say not my knee. My shin hits it. So I like the look. I also will say, in a heavy rain, I rode this thing and it's like I went swimming, and I sucked enough water in here to almost stall this engine, which wasn't cool. But so that's, sometimes looks aren't everything, right? You'll notice the bronze highlights on the Harley Davidson, on the heads, on the wheels. They did a really cool job with the valve stems going. They put them 90 degrees, so it's easy to check your air pressure on your tires. So that the other thing with the ST, the bags are a little bit shorter. So if you do go 2-into-1, it doesn't look so goofy with one pipe. You can get a ghost pipe too. And I'm probably going to remove these. These are kind of ugly, but they're just glued on. Weird thing, LED incandescent. Why didn't they just make them all LED? But that's, whatever. So Saddleman seat was on my other bike. I'm getting used to it. It's broken. It's got a adjustable lumbar support that you can put in there. It gives you like 3 different positions to ride if you're riding long. That's nice. So I am loving it. So the big thing for me was the looks. Everybody says it rides better than the Street Glide. I might have to give in and say yes. And my theory of why it rides better, this fairing is so much farther forward than my Street Glide. So when you're sitting on the bike and looking down the road, all this apparatus is quite a bit, like at least a foot farther forward on the bike. And so, if you're looking down the road and looking into a curve, the farther you look down that curve, the more control you have, the better you take that curve, the better the bike steers. And I just think you're aiming better with a road glide than you are on a Street Glide. I know that sounds crazy, but think of the sights of a gun, and you want to get this pointed in the right direction. Well, this is so much farther away from you, so it's like sights being farther apart. The farther they are on a gun, on a bow, the more accurate you typically are. I know that's kind of crazy, but that's my theory as of today. I've got 775 miles on it to go along with my channel, 775. So that's why I stopped here, pulled over to do a little review on the Road Glide ST. So and I also, the other upgrade that's coming is the suspension. This suspension is nicer than the Street Glide. The Street Glide had a shorter rear shock. This baby rides nicer stock than my Street Glide did with Olin's gas. So I'm just making comparisons now directly from, I just got off of that Street Glide and I'm riding Road Glide, and it rides nicer. The suspension's better, at least in the rear. The suspension is better. It's a better ride. I think it sits up a little bit higher. I think the lean angle is maybe a degree more than the Street Glide because it's the ST. And so I'll wait to hear your comments on that if you're a Harley guy. So I'm going to make a little playlist. So being a little selfish here, I'm not talking to you about solar or batteries or prepping or off-grid plans and strategies and consults and all that. But I'm going to make a little playlist. I love the shark nose fairing. And should have bought this. This should have been my first bike, but I learned a lot, so that what I want to do on this one, I'm really gonna like. I'm really making a better decisions. So the Street Glide was kind of my experimental, get used to riding again on the road, and then I'm like, okay, I've had it for a year and a half. Time to really get what I wanted, and that is this bike. So bars going on next, stereo system, and rear shocks. I'm going to go with the Legends rear shocks, gas shocks on the rear. And I might put the Solo seat back on. I don't know. I might switch them back and forth. They're very easy to swap out. The bags still have a lot of room. There's still plenty of room in the bags. And but the new lids will have new speakers in them. So what do you think? Road Glide, man, it is so nice. Rode with a bunch of buddies yesterday, and it handles phenomenal. I just cannot get over how well this bike rides. It is a joy to ride, and can't say too many good things about it. But I'm also looking forward, as Harley has mastered the upsell. You know, they're detuned. You want to change the pipes immediately. You want to change the handlebars immediately. You want to change, you know, that's kind of, you know, everybody gives them a hard time because they do that. That's just the way it is when you buy a Harley Davidson. Unless you get a CVO and spend another, whatever, $15,000 or whatever you got to do to buy a CVO Road Glide. So, okay, this is Engineer 775. I'm having fun riding in the mountains with my new bike, and fruits of all the labor. We've been working hard putting in solar. We still are here to help you if you need help working on an off-grid system. But in the meantime, let's get back to riding. Engineer 775 signing out.